It's the weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.
Hey, Steph, how are you?
Good, Gary. How are you?
I'm doing really well. I'm excited to be back in North Carolina, and it's nice and hot today.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. We never like have any transitional seasons. It feels like it's either like really hot or like kind of cold. But
I love our falls, though. I love our falls, football games, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's great. You don't like that?
Yes. No. I like the vibe of our falls, but like the weather-wise, it never really feels like we have much of a transition. It just feels like it's like one or the other.
Yeah. Like I'm in shorts, you're in short sleeves, you're in short sleeves. But next week it'll probably be freezing cold, right? Is that what you mean?
Probably not like next week, but in a couple weeks it'll be really cold. Like October, I feel like it like at night it gets really cold.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you had an interesting weekend last weekend, right?
I did. I started it out at in Minnesota, in Minneapolis. I was at the University of Minnesota and got a chance to attend a football game, which was awesome. Beautiful stadium. It's a really small stadium compared to ours. Like, ours is 68, 70,000. Theirs is like 45,000. Right. Really pretty though. And it was a beautiful night. It was like a night game. And
cool.
Yeah. And I went with Rich Ventura, as you know, he's the VP of marketing for Sony. And he's a huge Minnesota fan, got me to wear that color. I don't know. They can wear burgundy. But in any case, it's funny. I sent that picture of my daughter. My daughter goes, "You look good in that color." I'm like, "Oh my God, I was putting this on. I was going, like, I don't want to wear this color."
Those were my high school colors.
Exactly.
Burgundy and gold. It was horrible.
I'll tell you what, though, I've become a Minnesota fan. Like, we don't have big time college football here in North Carolina yet. Like, we're trying to, but they do. Like, they have a big program. It's a big deal there. And every Saturday when I'm watching college football, I'm always watching, either us, of course, and then, of course, South Carolina, because my daughter went to school there. But then Minnesota now is my third favorite team.
Your other team. Oh, that's good.
Before the game, it was their opening game. Before the game, they had guys. I don't know if it's called parachuting or paragliding or something like that into the stadium with the game balls. So these guys are like, and you'll notice. I don't know I don't know if I sent footage of that or if I just sent the airplane or not where they dropped them off, but I can't remember if I sent footage of them dropping into the stadium. But we'll see if it keeps going or not. If they did I don't think I get footage of that. When they were dropping into the stand, they were like holding the game balls, right? And there's like 5 of these military guys that come in and women. There was like 2 women and 3 guys, and they're holding the football, and it looks like they're going to crash into the ground. I mean, they're coming down really, really hard, and right the last minute they pull up and they just run down the stadium, and it was kind of wild, to see that kind of thing. So it was a lot of fun.
That's something. Okay, what else did you do? Tell me more.
The next day I went to the state fair, the Minnesota State Fair. As you know,
you've been talking about you love a state fair.
Yeah, the biggest state fair in the country, supposedly. Cheese curds are the famous thing at the Minnesota State Fair. Had cheese curds. If you haven't had fried cheese curds, then you haven't lived.
They have them at Sheets.
Do they? It's not the same. Trust me, it's not the same.
They're good at Sheets. They also have them at Cookout, but they're bad at Cookout.
These were like the best I've ever had, and they were just just cooked, right? I mean, right. So anyway, I've got a couple other shots here of the state fair that just kind of shows some of the scenes of the crowds. It was a beautiful day. It was hot. I think it was one of the hottest days they had so far this year. And it was the fair. They said it was really packed, but to me it didn't seem that bad.
Okay.
The foot-long hot dogs are the famous thing there, but they also something new they had this year is that they had pickle pizza, which is pizza with pickles all over it and pickle flavor.
Okay.
And, there it is right there.
I think I would eat that actually.
It was remarkably good. It had a good mixture of like the softness of the cheese and the saltiness of the pickle together was actually really good.
Because I like sometimes if I'm hungry, I just like eat pickles out of the jar. So.
Yeah. And it was a long wait. Like it was a good 20-minute wait to get this pizza. So it was the thing. You know how we have fried everything here? They have pizza.
Yes. But like the North Carolina State Fair is kind of like disgusting. The way that they will fry. It's like, I think fried butter was like one of the things a couple years ago, and that literally made me want to like gag.
Fried butter. My
That's
one of my daughters when she
disgusting.
was 3 would have eaten that, but outside of that, I don't know.
Yeah, but like that.
Well, the Oreos and the Girl Scout
Yeah.
cookies and all the stuff, the other things they fried.
Like I don't know. That just like makes your insides shut down, I think.
All right, but
Just,
I do
all of
love
your
the
organs.
North Carolina State ice cream, right? As you know. Okay, this ride
State
here,
ice cream.
this was crazy. This ride was crazy. Like I I'm number 1 afraid of heights. Number 2, I'm claustrophobic.
Did
it
you
may
ride
seem
that?
like this is open, but you're strapped in so tight. I did not
Yeah.
ride that. No,
You didn't ride
I
that,
just
no.
shot the video.
I don't ride. I used to when I was younger, but I don't think I want to ride most of the rides that are like very easy to take
Right,
apart
assemble them
and
in a
put
day.
back.
Yeah, they're assembling
Yeah.
this thing in a day, right?
Yeah, I
that's
just
what I mean.
don't.
Yeah.
I don't trust that. You know,
Yeah, I
like
don't
the
either.
rides that are like, you know,
I
at
go for the
Universal or any type of place where the rides are made to stay there, I will ride it because like I trust all of that engineering. But all these ones that could have stuff go wrong, it's really.
Hey, by the way,
scary.
we should probably say what the hell we're doing here. This
Oh.
is rAVe TV, our live TV show every Wednesday at noon. We come to you live at ravepubs.com on my LinkedIn profile. If you go to linkedin.com/GK or IN/GK, you'll find us. We're also on rAVe's LinkedIn. We're also on Facebook. We're on Twitter. I think, and also on youtube.com/rAVe
on
Pub.
YouTube
Come to you
and the
live
rAVe Pubs homepage.
in our rAVe. Oh, that's right. In the rAVe Pubs homepage. And of course, we've been doing this live show for 15 months, thanks to Legrand and Shure. And now we have another sponsor we're excited about,
Yeah.
Aver Information, or Aver Pro AV, I should say, is a sponsor. And so you're going to hear a lot more about their products and technology. Many people may not know about them. They're in the video conferencing market, very, very strong in the video conferencing. They're also in the video accessories market. Like I have an Aver accessory on my desk here that converts HDMI. It converts USB-C to HDMI or HDMI to USB-C, depending on what you want to do with it. But they also make a bunch of PTZ cameras and video bars and things like that. And we're going to help them get into the Pro AV market and get more known.
Which is awesome. And also speaking of them, Aver Information, did you hear, Gary? Their TR333V2, the AI auto tracking camera that just received Zoom Rooms hardware certification. So
yeah, and that's critical because that means that you don't have to have any other plugins for it to be compatible with Zoom Rooms, but also it's auto tracking and you don't have to wear anything for it to auto track. It recognizes your face because it's got AI and it'll just follow you around. Even if you turn away, it'll recognize what the back of you looks like and it'll keep following you around.
And it does both like half body and full body tracking, which I think is also important. So whether you're like standing really close or you're standing farther away, it'll still track you, which is very cool.
The cool thing about AI, and we're going to bring on Megan Dutta a little bit later to talk about sort of some of the new tech that's out there. But AI is a big part of what the Launch Code covers, which is her publication.
Yes. So speaking of all of that, we've got like fall's about to be here. We were just talking about that. And with that, it means like our next wave of in-person events. So I'd be remiss if I didn't mention any of those. So first of all, CEDIA Expo is coming up September 29th to October 1st, which is going to be great. I can't wait to be in Dallas. I can't wait to be at this year's CEDIA. Gary and I have been talking about how excited we are for it. And we're going to drop a link in LinkedIn so you can get a free show pass if you want to join us on the show floor in Dallas. Gary, you wrote a cool piece we're going to bring up a little bit later about like how the show floor looks a little bit different at these past CEDIAs. Next up, DSE. That's going to be November 17th through 19th. That's going to be in Las Vegas, Nevada. And we will be there as well. And then you can use a free code rAVe gift, and that will get you on the show floor for free on that one. Very excited to see this show back in person or back at all, really, because they, as you know, they were repurchased by was it QuestX?
QuestX,
yeah. Yep. And so they've kind of like overhauled the entirety of DSE and made it kind of an entirely new trade show. So
I just had a call with an experiential company that's presenting that Megan introduced me to. Lauren Ipsum is the name of the company. And they're going to be at DSE. They're presenting. There's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, DSE, although it will not be big and it will not be, a giant show, it's going to be a really unique kind of experiential show. And they've done a good job bringing more experiential companies in there. So I'm definitely excited to see that show grow back.
Well, this will be its first year, after being bought by QuestX. So you can't expect for it to be like the biggest show ever. Of course, it's kind of a transitional year, like putting it back on the map. So exactly. I think it'll still be a success. Also, Elmos E4, there are 2 dates coming up for this fall. It's going to be in DC, September 23rd, and Boston, October 20th. Gary, you're going to be at both of those, right?
Yeah, and the 23rd, for DC, there's a lot of people that are in driving distance that watch this, or in train distance to DC.
Right.
I would encourage you, if you're in the Northeast, to come down for that, because that's on a Friday. So that's an opportunity for you to skip out of work a little bit and enjoy the nice weekend. Because that weekend, the cherry blossoms not cherry blossoms, the ambiance of DC is going to be awesome, because you're in the fall, right? So take a weekend off, come down to DC, but come watch my keynote on the Friday, the 23rd.
That'll be cool. I have not been to DC since 8th grade, I don't think. Like since I was 13.
Oh my gosh, I love DC. Yeah, I mean, all the museums are free, right? You know that, right?
I know. I like them. I just haven't been in a long time. And then there used to be a museum, which was like a journalism museum, but I think it closed. So. Oh,
it did? It closed?
Yeah, I think it's no.
I guess journalism's dead.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know what I'm doing here. Anywho, so we also have a lot of virtual events coming up. Like we have so many. We have launch week, we have launch and learns coming up. So we're going to just run through a few of those. We have one today. So literally 30 minutes after rAVe TV is over, you can join back via launch.com, lavnch.com, and join D10's Launch and Learn about next level collaboration with interactive touch and advanced whiteboarding, kind of learning more about D10's onboard, right, Gary?
Yeah, the onboard product they introduced at InfoComm. We're going to cover that product and talk about how it's different than the other collaboration boards out there, how they've got a special kind of a collaboration with Zoom. And it's interesting. A lot of people said, well, I guess you won't be doing too many events on launch anymore since live events are coming back. But in fact, that's not the case. What we have found and brands have figured out is that you can launch products and talk about products all the time online, anytime you want. It's the networking experience that's tougher to pull off. And so we're still doing a lot of virtual events and a lot of hybrid events. So we're excited about. We have 2 in a row. In fact, we have another one tomorrow, don't we, Steph?
Yes, we do. And that is with Aver, Yamaha, and Lenovo. And that is on the Microsoft Teams Certified Bundle. So that is going to be tomorrow at noon Eastern. And it's basically just about this bundle that's made for the hybrid meeting room. And it's kind of just going to talk about how this is really indicative of how UCC trends are going right now and what this collaboration has looked like for all 3 companies.
Yeah, so, today's Zoom day, tomorrow's Microsoft day.
Yes. And then we have ADI's Launch and Learn coming up September 15th, also at noon Eastern. And this is a really cool Launch and Learn, actually. This is about financial leadership in a changing world. So it's really about, the economy. It's kind of being a little bit wonky right now.
It's a business one that if you're, in sales or you're in marketing or you're in management, I think it's going to be a good session to come to.
For sure. And just kind of about how to solidify your business so that you can succeed even when, the economy is looking a little bit rocky. So also September 20th, 2 p.m. Eastern, we are going to have a Launch and Learn on what you need to know about the metaverse. And to talk about that a little bit, we have Megan Dutta here with us. Hey, Megan.
Hey, good morning. Well, I guess afternoon for you guys now.
Yeah, it's afternoon for us. How are you doing?
I'm swell. I love watching rAVe TV every week.
Thank you. It's just kind of us being weird for 30 minutes and, for
That's
some
why
reason,
I love it.
doing it. But so I'm really excited about this Launch and Learn because I was telling you that I don't know anything about the metaverse. And at this point, I'm too afraid to ask. So I'm sure there are other people out there in our industry like me who are just kind of I don't know about that. I'm kind of scared of it. But there are a lot of ways to utilize this in our industry and in the industry of emerging tech, right?
Right. And I think, the whole point of Launch Code when we started Launch Code, we talked about this a lot. We want to bring together people that work in AV and are so proud to work in AV and talk about working in AV, but need to learn about the future technologies with the people that maybe don't know they work in AV And that is definitely the metaverse, people. So this is the perfect place for someone, Steph, like you, that knows a lot about AV technology and wants to learn more about future forward technology. There's no question that's too simple for these panelists. They're super friendly and they're experts. We have Orlando from Accenture. He works on driving Accenture's efforts to build an inclusive metaverse, which we love inclusivity here.
Yeah.
And we have Adrian, who's an award-winning director. He's a top 100 AR and VR expert. He's been featured in Forbes, BuzzFeed, all of that, talking about the metaverse. So we have some real experts, and they're going to go over what we need to know about the metaverse, because I think a lot of people don't even know what it is. And also, how can you apply it to your business, right? Because at the end of the day, we want to know how's it going to impact AV and technology professionals, and how can we use the metaverse to make money?
If you look at big brands like McDonald's to Wendy's to Nike, they all have metaverse lands. They all have their own place in the metaverse. And basically, on a consumer side, if you're a gamer, you're already in the metaverse, right? Because all these games are being put on metaverse. But if you're in higher education, for example, campuses are building metaverse campuses so that you can attend class in a more immersive way, which is, again, to really experience the metaverse properly, you have to have a VR headset on. And so you're kind of immersed in a different realm. I think a lot of people, Megan, as you said, don't really understand why they should care about it. And I think one of the questions you're going to answer in this Launch and Learn on September 20th is why AV people should care about the metaverse, because there is a huge opportunity in this.
There really is. I mean, we're seeing it, when we started Launch, there wasn't, I know, Gary, you started working on Launch before the pandemic, but obviously there was a huge need for it. And it's the same thing with the metaverse. As we grow, obviously we love in person. We're going to keep doing that. But people are hiring more remote employees. How do you onboard them? Can you do a conference in the metaverse, which I've attended one? It was actually really cool. I didn't wear a headset or anything, but you would go to a physical area and join the conversation, and there's only a certain amount of seats. So it's like a real life presentation. If I get to Gary's keynote late and there's no seats left, I have to go find a different session to attend. It was really neat. And we'll talk about
and
how
they use
all
spatial
of
audio too. Like in the real world, like the closer you are to somebody, the louder they are speaking, the further away they are, you have this sort of spatial discussion. So Steph, if you can actually have 15 groups of people having a discussion simultaneously, just like in the real world, in the metaverse, in this immersive world, using spatial audio. And basically for us, it seems kind of weird, but if you think about your younger brothers and sisters and friends, Steph, they all grew up in VR gaming world. So I think this is just natural for them as they age up.
Do you remember, I'm aging myself a little bit here, but do you remember when, Gary, I took your classes in 2015, 2016 when I was at UNC, and you talked a lot about, what was it, Second Life?
Second Life, yeah. Second Life was actually the precursor to the metaverse. I mean, in a way, Second Life, Megan, that'd be a good question for you to ask your panelists. In a way, Second Life sort of told the future, right? I mean, it's Linden Labs is the company. They are actually still around, and they are going to be a big player in the metaverse. They have a different version of it. But at that time, not a lot of people wanted to set up an avatar, but now everyone has an avatar because they set it up inside a Snap, right? And so they were sort of like 10 years ahead of their time. They actually have their own currency, right? This is another issue in the metaverse, is the financial aspect. Because people buy things just like I don't even know if you know this, Steph, but the amount of money spent on weapons in video games equals the amount of money in 2019 was equaled the amount of money that Hollywood made globally in all their movies. So you think about companies going in the metaverse. I mean, Wendy's sells hamburgers and stuff in the metaverse. You might think, well, why would I buy a virtual hamburger? Well, because your avatar still has to eat and drink and play games and do the thing and do the things they want to do, just like you do in the real world.
Like a Tamagotchi.
It's like a combination of all of those things. I mean, it's
or like a Neopet.
Yeah, Neopet. Yes, the Neopets. My kids had Neopets.
I had Neopets. That's what I know about.
I mean, even advertisers are using it. So take Gary's example, right? We were just talking before we started the show. We were talking about, Steph, I was telling you about Jimmy John's, the Meta Sandwich. So all these users in the metaverse created Meta Sandwiches, and then I want to say they voted. Somehow they chose a sandwich that they made then in real life. So it's not just about living in the digital, it's connecting the digital to the physical as well.
Gotcha. My final
there is
question.
an age gap, Steph, and
there is.
You're in the age group that is rapidly moving to the metaverse. You might want to just give it a shot.
Okay, well, we'll see. But okay, my next question is like regulating like legal proceedings and stuff. Like, how are laws enforced in the metaverse? Like, how, that's my next question, because that seems hard. Because I think that, Gary, there were like, laws broken and like court proceedings about stuff that would happen in Second Life, right?
Yeah. There was a girl who was assaulted in Second Life, and they kicked the person out. But I think this is all stuff that remains to be seen, right? I mean, but you're asking legislatures who are having their emails printed out to legislate the metaverse. I don't know that that's very logical that that's going to happen. I think that a lot of the companies like Facebook and Microsoft and Google, who are the three of the big players in the metaverse, are going to create their own sort of systems to make sure that it operates properly.
Yeah. And there is like the Metaverse Standards Organization. It's a coalition that's free to join for people that have businesses in the metaverse. And a lot of their standards are more technical, but I could also see them having, code of conduct standards. The point
is, you should join this, because if you have no idea why we're talking about this or what we're talking about, there's a good reason to join this on the 20th. So make sure that you sign it. Go to launch.com, LAVNCH.com. And also, we'll be talking about this. There you go. There's a graphic on it so you can join. It's on September 20th at 2 p.m. Eastern. That way the West Coast people, there's a lot of leaders in the metaverse on the West Coast with the tech companies over there, can join us as well. But go to launch.com and sign up. And one last thing, Megan, before you go, how's Launch Week 6 coming? Because that's coming up at the end of October.
I'm so excited. I know it's still a little bit of ways away, but Steph and I have been working hard to get new speakers. We like to pass the mic and bring new people into the fold. So I think we'll have people you haven't really heard from before. There's going to be off the cuff discussions. Gary, I'm really excited for your discussions like that. You're doing the Emerging Trends, Emerging Technologies Day. And you're going to just go to town with stuff like we were just talking about, totally unscripted. Yeah,
going to do some unscripted stuff, but I'm also doing during Launch Week 6. So you need to even if you only can attend one day, sign up for the whole week. Definitely, I'm going to be doing a session on supply chain issues and sort of what brands are doing to solve these problems and when it will end. We'll put them on the spot and say, when are you going to have stock of stuff? And this is an issue that's really affecting our industry.
Are we saying who you're going to have on that panel yet?
Probably not yet. I think it'll be fun, but I assure you, there's some big brands.
It's going to be good. It's going to be spicy. So
it'll be fun.
Don't miss it. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Megan, for hopping on with us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So moving right along, we are very grateful to all of our sponsors that we have here at rAVe TV. And one of those is Legrand. Wanted to let you guys know that they just came out with a book called the Mass Deployment Conferencing Spaces book. And that is downloadable. We will drop the link so that y'all can go right to the link and download it or flip through it. But basically, this is kind of going through the importance of strategically deployed AV systems. And the point is that Legrand, they really want to help your employees be seen and heard from, wherever they're working, because that's where we're at today. We're working pretty much everywhere. So the book includes
kind of a guidebook of everything you need to know about, choosing the right display, the right mounts for the right display, the right screens, where to put screens, what kind of audio systems put in. Do you put program audio? Do you put distributed audio in? Networking issues that you're going to run into as we go to AV over IP, power distribution, AV distribution. It's a little bit of everything, and it's a great book for you to give your customers. If your integrator is watching, it's a great book for you to give your customers to educate them a little bit about everything on AV.
Exactly. And just how making the right choices can make working easier for everybody involved. So highly recommend. Of course, we're dropping the link right now if you're watching via LinkedIn. So if you want to check that out, go over there to see that. Next up, Gary, I wanted to talk to you briefly about a piece that you wrote for rAVe Pubs. You wrote about why CEDIA Expo, which is, home tech, is going to include UCC at the show this year. So why is that, Gary?
Well, go to the ravepubs.com and read it. But the main reason is that the truth of the matter is, we're all going to be working from home at least 1 or 2, maybe even 3 days a week, even when we get back to quote unquote normal. I don't think anyone's going to, I don't think there'll be very many cases where you're going to be working. And, it's funny, before the pandemic, salespeople that were outside sales were just completely, this was normalized. So the whole, what's happened during the pandemic is we've upped the ante a little bit. And we got to up our game. We got to have better cameras, better mics, better quality. We have to have something in the background that's not too distracting, but interesting to look at. We don't want just a bunch of talking heads all the time. So all this is stuff that's changed. And CEDIA being a home tech show, there are houses in the neighborhood I live in now, Steph, that are being built where they have Zoom rooms. Like they like, this is your Zoom room. The little home offices that are like a third the size of the former home offices they would have built in these houses before. Because people just go in these like little boxes and work from home because they're mostly on video. So it makes sense for them to have those companies there. So a lot of the UC companies that were only at Enterprise Connect or only at Infocom are now going to go to CEDIA and show their wares. And IMCCA, you can check them out at imcca.org. That's the sort of association for a lot of this UC products. They're going to be there and they're putting on a health educational section. And the reason why they're all there is because people are going to be buying this stuff for their house, and the kind of stuff you use in your house is not exactly the same stuff you'd probably use in your office. So there is a difference.
There is a difference, and I'm excited to see everything from the show floor.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, partnerships are really big in our industry right now. It's just kind of the way that we're working now. So Shure has one with Logitech, and we are going to show you a quick spot from them. So watch this.
Do you notice the excitement in my voice? Can you see the subtle smile on my face? As humans, the words we say and how we say them are at the heart of how we communicate. And for effortless communication, distance shouldn't be an obstacle. Shure and Logitech have teamed to pair top-of-the-line audio with premium video and make sure everything you communicate is being communicated. Discover the harmony of Shure and Logitech. Effortless meetings at any distance.
All right. So we have lots of news on our website. We don't have time to get to very many stories before the end of our half hour is up here. I've got to do a launch and learn in 30 minutes. But Steph, we got a few stories we want to cover.
Sure, yeah. So Astro Design, AV Pro Edge, and Syncor just joined the AIMS Alliance. If you are familiar, the AIMS Alliance is known for trying to drive IPMX as an AV over IP standard, just as one of the few standards that people are trying to drive in this industry. But I think it's interesting. The more people join one of them, I think that that's going to prove to be an actual standard in our industry.
Yeah, and I think that this kind of tips the hat and plays the cards for these companies as to which of the AV over IP directions they're going to go, because they could have gone with SDVOE or they could have gone with IPMX. And obviously, Syncor is a big company in the broadcast market too. AV Pro Edge has always been in the Pro AV market, but Syncor is a big broadcast company coming into the AV space. So.
And I think this IPMX is kind of known for being like a broadcast first standard, which it is
easier for the broadcast companies to use it because it is 702110 based. Yep.
Yes. So HP finished its acquisition of Poly. We talked earlier, I think this year, about how that acquisition was happening, but it is, it has happened. It is finished.
Done. They're now HP.
So, yeah, that's so interesting because wasn't it Poly acquired Plantronics? Right?
Plantronics bought Poly.
Plantronics bought Poly.
And then they changed their name. Plantronics bought Polycom, changed the name changed the name of the combined company to Poly, and now HP bought the combined company.
Do you know what's going to happen to the Poly brand? Will that just be?
They haven't said if they're going to keep it or not. My guess is that they'll fold it all into HP because HP always does that.
That'll be a different Enterprise Connect and also a different Infocom. So I'm interested to see how that will go. Final story. I just thought it was interesting. Blue Jeans by Verizon was named a leader by Aragon Research in the Globe for intelligent video conferencing for the third year in a row. So I think that it just kind of goes to show that they kind of talked about since they've been since Verizon bought it, since Blue Jeans became part of Verizon, the demand for it has increased, and it's, you know, won some awards for having a quality of service. I've not used Blue Jeans before. Gary, have you?
I have. I've joined. I don't have my own account, but I've joined meetings where they were being held in Blue Jeans. But you know, the fact of the matter is that that's a giant company, Verizon, and they have large contracts with big companies. And if they say this is what we're going to use, that's what people are going to use. Sort of like Google and Google Classroom, people using Meet, right? I mean, a lot of schools are going to use Meet because it's built into Google Classrooms. Similar kind of space in the enterprise side.
I'm pretty loyal to Zoom. You are too.
Like, I mean, you know, it's easy to use. We've never had any problems. We've always had a little bit of problems with Microsoft Teams, but now we finally, thanks to Carrie behind the scenes, nailed that. Now we don't have any problems with Meet, so I'm comfortable with both platforms.
Okay. I think Zoom is my favorite. Another one that I like, I really like Pexip's platform. Like that one.
Pexip's cool because you can use all the different all the different VC platforms in one. Yeah.
And I'd never used it before, and like something I don't like using a new platform and like not knowing how to use it and looking stupid. But Pexip I figured out immediately. The only one that like I don't know how to use it and it's God's business now, that's WebEx. Like I am scared of it. I got muted one time and I couldn't figure out how to unmute, and I just had to look dumb in that meeting. So
well, WebEx has got a big user base, so you're at some point you'll probably have a meeting. They do.
WebEx. And you know, sorry to Cisco, because I do. They're a good company and they make good products. I just can't figure out.
Cisco, she just threw out a challenge to make her feel comfortable with it. So.
Yeah. So Cisco, help me. Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us for this week's edition of rAVe TV. Thanks for everyone for hanging in there. And please do join these sessions that we have coming up. Just go to launch.com if you want to join this session. I'm going to be leading in a half hour. It's all about the D10 onboard, which is a new collaboration board purpose-built for Zoom. It's very unique because it has Zoom whiteboarding, the new Zoom whiteboarding built right into it. And when you write on it, it goes everywhere. And when you write from anywhere, it comes back onto the board. It's really kind of cool. So definitely join. Thanks, Steph, for putting our agenda together today. Thanks to Carrie for running things behind the scenes, and the entire rAVe team for blasting this content out to all these locations, including all the links that we drop all these places. So thanks for joining us. We will see you next Wednesday at noon.
Bye, everybody.
It's the weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary.